Good morning to First Form Latin students. Hello again. You're on lesson 33 this week. You probably have noticed this is a unit review, which means you don't have anything new to learn for the rest of the book. That does not mean you shouldn't keep reviewing. But this week is just one big review. Very good. And we're going to be reviewing again next week as well. But for this week, if you will get your student books, if you haven't already gotten them, pause the video, go get your workbook, your student book, and a pen or a pencil, and meet me back here. Okay? Then I want you to open up your book to page 82, your student book, and have that ready. We're not going to use that quite yet because first of all, we're going to go through all our declension endings again. We'll just do them out loud together. But here we go. First declension. A, arum, is, as, is. Sorry about that. What gender are almost all of those? Feminine, except for natural gender, poeta, agricola, and nauta. Second declension. Us, o, orum, is, os, is. Gender? Masculine. Second declension neuter. O, a, orum, is, a, is. Gender? Neuter. That's why it's second declension neuter. Third declension. X, is, ema, s, ibus, s, ibus. Gender? You got to learn them. Masculine, feminine, and then we do have a third declension neuter that follows our neuter rule. Nominative and accusative are the same, and the plurals end in a. Fourth declension. Us, ui, u, us, ibus, us, ibus. Gender? Masculine. Except for domus and manus, house and hand. Okay. And fifth declension. S, aem, a, s, arum, abus, s, abus. Gender? Feminine, except for ds, day, which is masculine. How'd you do? Do them every day. You can't do them too much. You really can't do them too much unless you stop eating and sleeping. Then you're doing them too much. But other than that, do them over and over because success in any language, and this goes on if you quit taking Latin and you go to another language, success in language is repetition. Do it over and over until it becomes a part of you. You don't have to think it anymore. It just becomes a part of you. And that's what repetition does. Okay? Now, I also want to go through a verb synopsis with you today. We're going to do a second conjugation verb, Theriot. So I need to scoot over just a tad. Get my handy dandy board. All right. What are the principal parts of Theriot? Do you remember? Theriot is a second conjugation verb, and it's got normal principal parts, normal for a second. So, Therioterere, Theriui, Theritus. Theriot, terere, remember the line. Theriui, Theritus. Okay, sorry about that R there. I don't like the way that looks. Let's fix it. Okay, what do these mean? I frighten. To frighten, that's called the infinitive. I frightened. And just simply as an adjective, frightened. Let's go through and let's do, oh, we never do second person. Let's do second person singular, which would be you. And let's do this in the present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. All right? Adjust myself. Here we go. Let's conjugate in the present tense. Theriot, teres, teret, teremis, teretis, terent. So we have teres. You frighten. You are frightening. Or you do frighten. It can mean all of those. Imperfect. Terebam, terebas, terebat, terebamus, terebatus, terebant. So we have terebas. You were frightening. Future. Terebo, terebis, terebit, terebimus, terebitus, terebunt. So we have terebis. You will frighten. Now we're going to do the perfect system, which means we have to go to our third principal part. We take away the I, and that gives us our stem. So our stem is teru. I'm just going to write the stem 3 times. Perfect. Terui, teruisti, teruit, teruimus, teruistus, teruerent. So teruisti. You frightened. You did frighten. You have frightened. Move that over so you can see. Okay. Pluperfect. Terueram, terueras, teruerat, terueramus, terueratus, teruerant. So we have terueras. You had frightened. And future perfect. Teruero, terueris, teruerit, teruerimus, terueritus, teruerint. Terueris. You will have frightened. Okay, how did you do on that? I'm hoping that by now, since we're pretty much at the end of the book, that this is becoming easy for you. Practice makes it easier. So even if they don't give you exercises in the book, in the workbook, to do a synopsis like this, which is what we call it when we just do one person. We don't write out the conjugation for every tense. Even if they don't have you do that, do it on your own. Because you can pick one, do it, and then check yourself in the book. All right? Now, I also have, actually before we do our sentences, you may grab your student book. You can use your student book for this. Let's do principal parts for, let's start with first conjugation. Let's do a regular first conjugation verb. How about laudo? Laudo, laudari, laudavi, laudatus. Porto, porto, portari, portari, portavus. Ero, ero, erari, eravi, eratus. Do. Do, dari, dedi, datus. It's not regular, is it? Sto, stari, steti, status. Lavo, lavari, lavi, lautus. Uvo, uvari, uvi, utus. Good. Okay, we've already done one second conjugation, regular verb, like monio. Monio monere, monui monitus. You see how it's kind of a rhythm? I kind of want you to dance to it a little bit. Do your Latin dance. Let's do some other ones. Let me grab the book so I know which ones you've learned. How about debio debere, debui debitus. Habeo habere, habui habitus. Appario apparere, apparui apparitus. Prohibio prohibere, prohibui prohibitus. Taccio tacere, tacui tacitus. All right, unfortunately, those are the only second conjugation verbs that have normal principal parts, completely normal. Now, on page 83 in your student book, you have a list there at the bottom of all the principal parts of all the ones that aren't normal. You need to learn them. How will you learn them? Repetition. Say them over and over. Write them over and over. And you'll get them. You'll get them. I'm sorry, we have a lot of, you probably wonder why there's so many shadows passing. It's a very windy but sunny day when I'm taping this, and my tree is waving around and it's casting shade on me, so it's okay. As long as you can see the whiteboard and you can hear me, we're fine. So I apologize for the quality of this video. Okay, let's go through your irregular ones. The first two on page 83 just have no fourth principal part. Timio timere, timui. Valio valere, valui. They're normal, but just don't have a fourth part. Okay? The next two kind of belong together. Docio docere, docui, doctus. Tenio tenere, tenui, tentus. Then we have three more that have an S or two S's that magically appear in the third and fourth parts. Ardio ardere, arsi arsus. Ubio ubere, usi usus. Manio manere, mansi mansus. Do not confuse manio, remain, with monio, worn. Okay, now we have gaudio, which is very odd. It has only two parts. Gaudio, gaudere. Cavio, cavere, cavi, cautus. Sedio, sedere, sedi, cessus. Video, videre, vidi, visus. Respondio, respondere, respondi, responsus. Movio, movere, movi, motus. Okay, we have to learn those. We have to learn those. Now, let's just go through our Latin sayings there at the bottom while we're here on the page. Video et taccio. I see and am silent. Cave canum. Beware of the dog. Docere, delectare, movere. To teach, to delight, to move. And veni, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. All right. How did you do? Keep reviewing all of your sayings. Remember, they are also listed for you in a row in the back of your student book, of the textbook. So you could cover up one column and just quiz yourself, or have your mom quiz you, have a brother or sister quiz you, and make sure that you're not forgetting those. That's a tricky thing. When you're learning any language, but particularly in Latin, don't forget what you've learned while you're learning new things. You know, it's that way in math too, right? You worked on fractions for a while or decimals, and then you move on to simple beginning algebra, and then you might start forgetting how to do your long division with decimals. or what to do with a fraction if you don't practice it over and over. That's why a good math program will have you practice over and over. And I'm trying to help you practice over and over here when we meet together. Let's go ahead and go through some of the sentences that I made up for you for review. Grab my whiteboard and erase what we did before. Okay. I tried to make up a variety, again, of sentences that will give you practice, because what did I just say? Reviewing and practicing everything you've learned is key in learning a language. And when you do a sentence, you really have to practice everything you've learned, don't you? Everything comes together when you translate a Latin sentence. So, first up, Dux, exercitum monet. Let's start with the verb. Monio means worn. It's present tense. Monio, mones, monet. He, she, or it warns. Now we have to look and see if there's anything that could be the he, she, or it. Anything that could be our subject. It's got to be in the nominative case. We have dux. That it can only be nominative. Leader. The leader warns. Now we're looking for a direct object. We have an ending. It's us, ooey, ooh. So it's a direct object. Army. The leader warns the army. Next up. Pubele, tacere, debent. Let's start with the verb. Debio means owe or ought. Let's use ought in this sentence. Debio, debes, debet, debemus, debetus, debent. It's present tense. They ought. Now, is there anything in our sentence that could be the they? That's nominative and plural. Girls. The girls ought. What does tacere mean? It's the infinitive. To be silent. The girls ought to be silent. Do you remember how there are some verbs, debio is a very good one when it means ought, that just automatically take an infinitive? We call it a complementary infinitive because it completes the thought. We don't ever say, I ought, without saying an infinitive. It needs that infinitive, I ought to, whatever. Some other verbs can take one. I love to swim. All right, complementary infinitive. Next up, milites spam habebunt. Let's start with the verb. Habio means have. It's got bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitus, bunt, so it's future, and it's they. They will have. Now we have to look for something that could be the subject, and it's got to be plural because it's a they. And I see milites. Milites has a plural nominative ending, so it could be our subject. The soldiers will have. Now we need a direct object, and we see spem. S-A-E-A-E-M. It's accusative. Hope. The soldiers will have hope. Right, next up. Equos times. Start with verb. Timeo means be frightened, be afraid. It's present tense. Timeo, times, timet. Times is you are afraid of, or you fear. Okay, now we need to find if we have a direct object. Oh, by the way, do we need to look for a separate subject in this sentence? No, we don't, because you is the subject. We're not going to find another subject. You is the subject. This is why it's always a good idea to start with the verb, because sometimes you're not going to go looking for a subject because it's just in the verb. If the subject is I, we, you, or you all, you're not going to find, in most cases, you're not going to find another subject. All right? So, and this is one of those cases. You fear what? Do we have a direct object? Do we have anything with an accusative ending? Oh, this is an accusative ending. And equus means horse. You fear, is it singular or plural? It's plural. You fear horses. You are afraid of horses. If it was one horse, we'd have to do that, wouldn't we? Put a singular accusative ending. Okay, next. Servus donum manium. Don't remember my verb. Videbant. All right, let's start with the verb. Video means see. It's got bomba spot is spot, so it's imperfect, and it's they. They were seeing. Oh, I messed up. Ooh, I'm changing. Sorry. All right. Is there anything that could be the they? The thing I just had to change and make it plural, because if it were servus, servus is a he or a she. In this case, it's got a he ending. And so I couldn't have a plural verb. Okay. The slaves were seeing. What did they see? Do we have anything that could be a direct object? Well, donum, gift. The slaves were seeing the gift. And now we have this word, manium, great or large. Look at this. They're both accusative, neuter, and singular, so it is a big gift. The slaves were seeing the big gift. Remember, adjectives must match the nouns they describe in three ways. In gender, in number, which means singular or plural, and case. If one of them is accusative, the other must be accusative. Okay, let me clean this off so we can do some more. Okay. Flumen latum multa saxa habet. Start with the verb. Habeo. Habeo means have. It's present tense. Habeo, habes, habet. And it's he, she, or it. He, she, or it has. Now we need to see if there's anything that could be the he, she, or it. And I see flumen. Flumen can be a subject. It's nominative. So, river. The river has. All right. Now, we have this word latum right next to river. Wide or broad? Let's just use wide. Could it be describing the river? Well, we need to stop and ask ourselves what gender is flumen. Flumen is neuter. It is neuter and singular and nominative, and latum is neuter and singular and nominative. So they do match. The wide river has. Now, do we have anything that could be the direct object, the thing it has? Saxa. Now, on first look, you might say, well, that doesn't look like a direct object, but remember, saxum, rock, is neuter, and the accusative plural ends in A. This word is rocks in the accusative. The wide river has rocks. What are we going to do with Malta? Well, you might notice it also has the neuter plural ending, many rocks. The wide river has many rocks. Do you see how we had to use everything we know? Why it's so important that we know that flumen is neuter and that saxum is neuter. All right? You've got to use all that you've learned to translate one of these sentences. This is a great workout. Okay, next up. Sorores bone canum malum laverant. Let's start with the verb. Lavo means wash. Now, what tense is that? It's weird because it's got the aram, eras, erat endings, and it might seem weird until you remember that lavo, lavari, lavi, lautus. Lavi is the third principal part. This is the third principal part with the erant on there. It's pluperfect. They had washed. Now we need to look and see if we can find anything that could be the subject that is they. Sorores. It's nominative and plural. Sisters. The sisters had washed. Bone. Now they don't look the same, but let's stop and ask ourselves. Sisters is plural, it's feminine, and it's nominative. Bone is plural and feminine and nominative. They actually do match. The good sisters. The good sisters had washed. Now let's see if we have a direct object here, something that maybe they washed. Canum, the dog. And what kind of dog? The bad dog. I bet that wasn't a very pleasant experience, washing the bad dog. I don't think washing good dogs is a pleasant experience, frankly, but that's just my opinion. So, canum is masculine and accusative and singular. Malum is masculine and accusative and singular. We have a match. All right, let's try another one. I have 4 more. Note, multi, regem, culpaverant. All right, culpo. Culpo means blame. And I see the third principal part. So it's one of the perfect tenses. And it's got the I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. So it's perfect tense. And it's they. They have blamed. Or just they blamed would be fine. Now, we need to see if there's anything that could be the subject. Is there anything that could be a they? It's got to be nominative and it's got to be plural. And I see naute. Sailors. The sailors blamed. Now, well, let's just find our direct object first. The sailors blamed whom? Do we have an accusative ending? Yes, we do, in regem, the king. The sailors blamed the king. Now, what are we going to do with multi? Well, it can't be the king, can it? They don't have, this has a plural ending, this has a singular ending, this is not a direct object ending, but what is it? Oh, it is a nominative plural ending. But I'm a little confused. Why is it a masculine ending? Because now ta is masculine. Remember, its natural gender is masculine. So it is plural and nominative and masculine. This is plural and nominative and masculine. They do match. Many sailors. Many sailors blamed the king. For what? I don't know. You storytellers, you story writers will have to make up a reason for the sailors to blame the king. Okay. Let's do a few using the be verb. Portus est parvus. Right? Est is our verb. Sum es est. He, she, or it is. The port or the harbor is small. Okay? Remember, no direct object. We're not going to look for a direct object. This is a linking verb sentence. It links a subject with either a predicate adjective or a predicate noun. Which one do we have here? Is parvus a noun or is it an adjective? Small. It's an adjective, isn't it? We have a predicate adjective. Okay. Mas erat malus. Erat. Eram, eras, erat. It's the imperfect be verb. He, she, or it was. The custom was bad. The custom was bad. What is bad? Is it an adjective or a noun? It's an adjective. We have another predicate adjective. Okay. Last sentence. Fides erit aeterna. Erit. Ero, eris, erit. He, she, or it will be. Faith will be eternal. Faith is feminine. Remember those fifth declension, S, A, E, A, E, M, A. They're feminine. So we have a feminine noun. We have another predicate adjective. I didn't give you one with a predicate noun. Okay? Hopefully going through the sentences every time we do these together makes it easier and easier. Oh my goodness, it's getting kind of dark in here. Oh well. Now, let's take a look in your workbook. Okay, grab your workbook and your pen. And I would like, first of all, turn to page 170, please. And let's do the word study and grammar questions this time. I think they're worth doing this time. Can you hear that? My rooster is crowing. Okay. The stem vowel of the first conjugation. Think about the stem. How do we find the stem? Amo, amare. We drop the RE and we're left with an A. The stem vowel is an A. So, in other words, you're going to see an A, ama bom, ama bos, ama bot, or portabo, portabis, portabit. You're going to see an A there. The stem vowel for the second conjugation is E, isn't it? Okay. Now, this is the important thing I want to talk about. Number 3, the infinitive ending for all first conjugation verbs is A-R-E. If it has an infinitive that ends in A-R-E, it is first conjugation. Number 4, the infinitive ending for all second conjugation verbs is long E-R-E. The long E part is important because third conjugation has an infinitive of E-R-E with no long E. All right. To find the stem of a Latin verb, drop blank from the infinitive. Okay, picture an infinitive. Portare. What do I take away to find the stem? The R-E. Okay. This is very important. Knowing how do I find what conjugation a verb is, I look at the infinitive. And I see how it ends. And that will tell me what I need to know. Okay, I also, obviously, because this is a review, you're going to have you write out everything, all your principal parts, but remember, repeating things is good because that is the way you memorize. But I wanted to take a look. You're going to be conjugating a lot. I wanted to take a look at page 175. They are going to ask you to do verb synopses. This is just like what we do on the board at the beginning of every lesson. So look at the top of page 175. It says person, number, and it has 3 columns. The first one says third person plural monio. What are they asking for? They're asking for you to write only the third person plural form of monio in each of those tenses. Do you see how the tenses are listed along the left-hand side? Just like we just did it. We just did it with Theriot. If you're not sure how to do it, even though we've done it over and over together, go back and watch the beginning of this video again. Because that's exactly what they want you to do here. So in the first column, they want you to do the third person plural. What is that? They. They want you to write just that form in each one. So in the present, it's going to be monent, right? And then perfect, monebant. That's what they want you to do in the first column. Now, the next column says third person singular prohibio. What is third person singular? He, she, or it. They want you to write the he, she, or it form of prohibio in each tense. Next column says first person singular. What is first person singular? I. They want you to write the I form of video in each tense. Okay? Then down below they give you another set. Second person singular, setio. What is second person singular? You. So they want you to write the you form of setio in each tense. Next one, second person plural of teneo. Second person plural, you all. Write each one. First person plural of ubio. What's first person plural? We. Write the we form of ubio. Now, I think I've explained that well enough. This should really be pretty easy for you now because we've done it every single week since we've learned all the tenses. But if you have any trouble, if you get to that and you don't know what to do, call me. And I will be glad to walk you through it. Okay? But I don't think you should have any problem. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So this week, I want you to do all of those worksheet pages. Check them. By the way, another reminder, if you check your work and you miss something and you don't know why, call me and ask me. Don't just leave yourself wondering why something was wrong. I want you to understand. Now, if you check it and you do understand what you did wrong, then that's fine. That's what I want. I want you to, if you make a mistake, I want you to know why it was wrong. If you don't know, you need to ask me. Okay? Now, so finish lesson 33 this week. Next week we have a review of every single verb you've learned in the entire book. But if you have done the synopses with me, if you've reviewed and reviewed and reviewed like I've been telling you to do for the whole book, this will be easy for you. Okay? If not, you might have to learn them again. But you were warned to review, review, okay? I will hear from you if you have any questions. You know where to find me. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you here again next week. Bye-bye.